Hello and welcome to another episode of Espresso with Erin and
Sarit. What's going on? Happy continued Momentum Monday.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about think your way skinny.
Skinny. Okay.
Hold on. Here's what I mean by that. Okay, so today, if you've ever been held back by your whatever reason you've been held back in your weight loss, if you've ever thought like, oh my God, is this for me? Am I just supposed to be fat? Is this the way life's going to be? I'm always going to be this way. I'm big boned, or it runs in my family, it's genetic. If you've ever thought those things, they're killing you. So what we're going to talk about today is how the way you think will make or break the results that you get in your weight loss journey.
Yes, write this down. When you change the way you think, what you see starts to change. And we all want things to change. Now, the question is how are you changing in order for things to change? And I believe that is probably one of the biggest misnomers or the biggest gaps with regards to the weight loss industry. And I believe that this industry is not even making it any easier on you because, we're all made to believe that we are stupid because we don't have a PhD in biochemistry. And, we don't know, the nutrient content of blueberries and iceberg lettuce and terms like lectins and, things like that. And, you think that, you don't understand your body. You think that you need to get smarter in order to understand your body. Now, the real question is you need to understand yourself better. Because your body is a part of you. Your body is the physical expression of you, right? And think about the mechanics of blueberries and lettuce all day long. Now, let me tell you something. You're out of touch with your body. You're going to be out of touch with its choices. And it doesn't matter from a piece of paper of, oh, blueberries have 1,200 milligrams of antioxidants and blah, 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 blah. No. It doesn't work that way. In order for things to change, we need to change.
Something you said is if you're out of touch with your body, you're going to be out of touch with your decisions. This is super impactful because we can think about the science of anything forever until we blue face like, what was her name? Veruca Salt? No, Violet. Violet, you're trying Violet. You ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Okay, anywho, I thought blueberries, blue in the face. It's perfect. But you can think about the mechanics all day long, and we're wrapped up in the glycemic index of something or meal timing of something, but we are not aware of why we make the decisions that we make. We are constantly going to be fighting ourselves to make the right decisions because that ice cream with Reese's peanut butter cups is not going to get your goals, not going to get you to your goals, like something like salmon and green beans. That,
yum.
Right? Like typically we know the decisions we need to make, but being out of touch with your body makes it hard for you to make the right decisions. So in this episode, we're going to give you tools and strategies that you can use that are going to be helpful in you, number one, getting to know you better. Because when you know you better and you're more aware of you, you can make progress in the internal transformation that is necessary for the external transformation. And number two, it is going to help you make the right decisions without having to fight yourself so much on them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is when it is, when you've just eaten dinner, let me paint the picture for you. You've just eaten dinner. It was glorious. It was such a good, healthy meal. You feel so good, so proud of yourself. You're, on your journey, you're losing weight, you're really paying attention. And before you go to bed, there's something strange that happens in that moment. Something real strange that happens between dinner and bedtime. Why do I want to eat everything? Why? I don't need to eat. I just ate, but I just feel like if you've had this experience where you're like, oh my God, is there a hidden camera in my house and Erin's like watching me like munchy and snacky on things between dinner and bedtime. I know, between dinner and bedtime. If this is you, put nine eye snack in the comments. Nine
I
eye,
would love to see how you guys spell
nine eye snack in the comments. If this is a temptation for you, okay? So in those moments, how do we control ourselves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something that is important just to touch base on real quick is that, listen, is there an importance in the mechanics? Sure, there is. However, the biggest, like, learning the mechanics is the easy stuff, right? It's like 1 + 1 = 2, right? Like the mechanics, it's like, within 2 hours, you can have a basic understanding, especially if you've been through any of our programs, like, that. And, I share this with you because a prime example of, if you look at this country, America, the greatest country on the planet, is the most overweight and the most obese and also the most sick and heavily medicated country in the world. Now, of course, other than the fact that, big pharma controls the country and there is, just a huge agenda with regards to that, and that's not a part of today's discussion, like, for example,
it's a part of every day's discussion.
Let's just do a case study of, let's think about the average American woman who is, 42 versus the average French woman who is 42. Okay. Now, if you've ever been to France, you know that baguettes are a huge part of it. Like they eat baguettes with jam, and butter for breakfast. Like if you know that you love Nutella and you've had Nutella, go ahead and drop an N. Like, yes, you love Nutella here. The French lady loves Nutella there too. Like wine with dinner, all that jazz. Why is it that the average American woman weighs so much more than the French woman? And the French woman does not deprive herself of Nutella. She does not deprive herself of baguette. She drinks her glass of wine with dinner. Why is that? Is it purely just the mechanics? Sure, we can talk about the quality of the soil, and yes, there's some truth to that. However,
not enough.
Something that happens very commonly in this country is that we're extremely, because of the fast-paced American way of living, right? Which is faster than anywhere else in the world by far, right? Just how we are as an American society.
Speedy Gonzalez.
We're so focused on, this thing, where, we're completely out of touch with who we are as a person. We're completely out of touch with our food. And that is a huge gap that we need to fill in, right?
I actually want to ask a question.
Okay.
Huge gap we need to fill in. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hold that.
Nutella. Yes.
The question that I want to ask you, for you to consider for yourself, is when was the last time I ate a meal when I wasn't doing something else at the same time? When was the last meal that I ate, not snack? Like, when was the last meal that I ate that I wasn't doing something else at the same time? I wasn't in front of the computer. I wasn't watching TV. I wasn't scrolling through social media on my phone or texting somebody. I wasn't like running around getting the kids ready for school. When was the last time you sat and you literally, all you were doing was eating and paying attention to your eating? Maybe having a conversation with somebody else that's there with in person, fine. You're still there, you're still present and eating. When was the last meal that happened?
I think for Americans, it probably happens when they go out to eat. Just from what I've seen.
Like to a restaurant?
Yeah. Even then, like,
even then people are on the phones.
Even then people are on the phones. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, right? So like how we do one thing is how we do everything. So number one, if we're going to be out of touch with, like a meal, we're going to be out of touch with our nutrition. If we're out of touch with our nutrition, chances are that you're out of touch with other things in your life, like your relationships, like who you are. Right?
I've got some answers here too, by the way. I
Okay.
see grade school. Tough question.
Grade school? Are you kidding me? Wow.
So
yeah, it's
hold
like
on, hold on. Also can't remember yesterday afternoon. Okay, cool, cool,
great.
cool.
Okay, Sunday.
Never. We got a never.
Yeah,
We have a last week. Okay. We have a Thursday. Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it. So, few and far between for most of us, very far in between never for some. This is not judgmental. This is just to create awareness for you.
awareness. Yep.
That's it.
That's all it is, right? So, if you feel like it's not even a matter of feelings. So, based on your response, let's say, okay, you have identified feedback that you are out of touch with how you eat. Set an intention. Like, how can you do this a little bit better? Okay, maybe it's never. Maybe the intention is, okay, you know what? One meal per week, I'm going to challenge myself to be present.
That's a great goal.
You know,
It's a great goal because, even if just like what we teach in any of our programs, all of our one-on-one clients and our group coaching programs, anything that we teach is very much do one thing, because how hard is it to think about one thing? It's like scale of 1 to 10 believability. Another question for you, hopefully not as hard to answer. In your belief, 1 is no way, no how, can't even fathom it. I don't even know how you imagined that this is possible. That's a 1. 10 is absolutely no doubt in my mind it's happening. What is your level of belief that you can at some point this week create one opportunity for yourself to sit down and be present, fully present with your meal? 1. Scale of 1 to 10. Put it in the chat or the comments.
and because this is also so social, something that I could see, a lot of people running into is, oh, now if I do that, then there's some boundary that needs to be set. Maybe you need to have a conversation with someone, right?
Mostly it's just a
Because
conversation
if
with
this
yourself.
is social, it is also environmental, unless you're the only person living in your house.
Even if you're the only person, even if you have other people living in your house, chances are there's a point in time where you can be by yourself, whether kids are sleeping or what, like school's about to be out. So I don't know how much longer they'll be in school or at a camp or at a friend's house or something. Like usually if we want it bad enough, we can create an opportunity for that. I see a lot of 10s. I see 1 8. I see 1 7, but a lot of 10s, right? Like one thing, and this doesn't have to do with like the way that you think about things, kind of actually. This has a lot more to do with like being present, which is one of the tools where you get to create connection with your food. Your body is going to respond differently to that. And part of the ways is how satisfying that meal is. If you're connected with it, you can register, I ate. Versus if we're busy doing things, we're not registering that we're eating, and it doesn't keep us full for very long because we're so busy doing other things that our our mind and our body connection is less than optimal.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, food is physical energy. Food is also beyond physical energy, and like our presence and just our way of being has also a lot to do with how your food is being processed. Like the environment that you're giving for your food will create your food expressing itself in a different way. So for example, if you were to show me two people who eat the same diet, okay, who exercise the same amount, they're on the same exercise plan. One of them is, like in a harmonious environment and, it's just completely positive. And we want to share with you one way to shift your thinking today, because if you shift your thinking, you shift your life. versus the other person, okay, coach, mechanically, I'm doing all the things, right? Like I'm eating right, I'm blah, 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 blah. I feel stuck. Why is that? Because
Hold on, I got lost in your comparison between the two people.
So hold on, I'm still comparing. So two people, they're following the same, let's say, nutrition plan, same exercise plan. Mechanically, they're doing the same things, right? One person is, in a harmonious environment and is coming from a state of gratitude with regards to anything, any given obstacle. Wow, okay, great, I get to solve that. Versus, the other one, like Debbie Downer. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to eat clean. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to work out. I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. Guarantee you the way that is food, guarantee you the way that is the food is going to be expressed is going to be different. Okay, so what we're about to get to next is going to be that thing that is going to allow you to have your food be expressed in a positive manner. And I truly believe that this is why French women can have a baguette and butter for breakfast and still, like
maintain a lean physique.
Maintain, like if you go to France, you're gonna see that most people are pretty slender, right? And they wear like super tight stuff. Right? Meanwhile, like in this country, we are extremely overweight. And I'm not telling you that you should be skinny, because if you know anything about ES Army, you know that we're here for, strength and empowerment and whatever makes you feel strong and empowered. However, let me tell you something. You're overweight, you're obese, there's no empowerment in that.
And let me hear what you're saying. Okay. So you could eat literally the same thing as how they eat in France. You could eat literally the same exact thing, but with our way of living versus their way of living, our way of thinking versus, and this is generalized. Okay. We get it. This is very generalized versus their way of living and thinking is going to be physically, outwardly expressed very differently.
This is why in the country where people diet the most, people are the most overweight they've ever been. You guys, like, how does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? Right?
What do you mean? It makes complete sense. Like the way that we live, the way that we think, the way that
of course, right? Because of the way that we live, because of the way that we behave, because of the way that we think, it doesn't matter whether we out diet or out, surgery anybody in the world. It is because of that mechanism why we continue to become overweight, why the standards continue to decrease, while we're almost going to get to a point where cholesterol medication is going to be put in our water because now 20-year-olds have high cholesterol. Why is that?
You know what I think is the biggest culprit? Actually, I'm thinking about this right now. This is America specific, right? The majority of the people who are going to watch this video are in the United States of America, maybe some in New Zealand, or Europe or UK, something like that. But I think the biggest culprit. Are you ready for this? I truly believe if you can change this one thing, everything will change. Besides your attitude. Attitude is one thing. This is the other thing, is instant gratification. Because if you think about it too, one of the biggest reasons why we're so stressed all the time, which contributes to weight gain or having a hard time losing weight, is because we're going from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. We're never present. Everything has to happen now. It's all urgent. We're always busy. And it's like go, go, go.
Mhm.
Whereas and we want things now. We want things yesterday. Amazon delivers a package to your house the same day sometimes, or overnight at 4 a.m. or whatever. And it's like, yay. And some people even have the habit of, shopping when they feel stressed or anxious or sad or whatever. And it's like, if I can get something immediately, it cures a feeling that I'm pushing down, that I'm not managing myself. Same thing with eating, emotionally eating, binge eating. It's I'm suppressing an emotion I don't know how to otherwise deal with. So I'm going to eat about it.
Or I'm going to drink about it.
Or
I'm going to shop about it. I'm going to porn about it.
100%,
whatever the thing is.
100%. And that's not to say you're a bad person or anybody's a bad person who does that. What I'm saying is that we have not made the internal transformation. We've not thought to ourselves, how do I manage this myself? How do I face this head on? What is the actual thing? Again, this is awareness of self. What is the actual thing I'm suppressing? What is the actual thing I'm avoiding? What is the actual thing I'm trying to hide from or sweep under the rug that I'm doing these other things to not, have to deal with it? Okay. It could be judgment. It could be abuse. It could be whatever it is. We, we want this instant gratification. And so when that translates then into the weight that we want to lose, it's like, I also want it instantly. That's why people will pay $10,000 for a weight loss surgery, but not $6,000 for a year in our inner circle program. Because why? A year in our inner circle program requires work. It requires you to face your demons. But what it does is give you freedom. By the way, if you're interested in it, I'm gonna drop a link. Can someone from our team drop a link to something? Is there inner circle application?
Somebody on our team is on here.
I'll find the link to the inner circle application.
Drop IC if you're interested.
Good. I see. Okay, amazing. So anywho, that's why we'll pay so much money to have a quick fix of some kind, or that's why, these like body wraps and things are so appealing to us because it's an instant result. The unfortunate thing is thinking in terms of instant gratification. So this goes to the topic of today, which is our thoughts. If we think in terms of instant gratification, we are literally setting ourselves up to fail again. And what happens when we fail again and again and again is we lose hope more and more and more. And then we think nothing's going to work. We think we're broken. You're not broken. Nothing's wrong with you. Somebody just needs, you need help from somebody to help expose what the actual cause is that is giving you the effect that you don't want.
Nothing is wrong with you. You're just out of touch. Most likely with you, with your body, with your life, and everything around that. And it's cultural, right? So, just to give you a shift in perspective, how do you embrace the process when maybe you've covered things up under the carpet for so long? Listen, just like dust, the same thing happens with our emotions. You're out of touch with you, you're out of touch with your emotions. Once, it's being exposed, it's just like a carpet. You vacuum a carpet every single week, you won't have to vacuum your carpet as long because it's relatively whatever. Maybe your dog Callie pooped on the carpet this morning and there might be an extra smidge for you to.
Did your dog Callie poop on the carpet this morning?
My dog Callie pooped on the carpet this morning.
She sure did.
Yes, she did. Present! Right, so it happened, right? Or, or maybe, something fell down, whatever. Right? However, if you haven't vacuumed your carpet in a year, it might take you 3 hours. You might need those special carpet cleaners because your white carpet now looks like, a different shade of gray or,
brown,
or maybe, your vacuum keeps getting stuck because you're putting it on high pressure and then it gets all smudged up and then you got to pull stuff away and you got to, toss it in the trash and get back at it. So, the more things that we have to uncover, the more it's going to take more time, more effort, and more energy. And because it is so not a part of our culture, because we live in a culture of instant gratification, everybody, okay, put me under surgery, I'll drop to 70 pounds within a couple of months, I'll be good to go. No, you won't, because the same demon is going to come back at you. Unless you change your being, your habits are going to be the same. Your habits are going to be the same, which means that you're going to get to that same point. Right? And
change,
you got to change, right? So in order for you to change, it all starts with how do you think? So as you go into today.
I already gave you a nugget. One thought process is delayed gratification.
Yeah. Whatever it is, oh my gosh, I can't believe Erin just told me to delay my gratification. I'm so hungry. I want to eat my lunch. I get to eat my lunch in 2 minutes because I am working towards whatever it is that you're working. Like the energy that you put into something is going to be what you're going to get out of it.
I want to like highlight the difference that you just said right there was like, I have to wait versus I get to eat my lunch in 2 minutes. I have to versus I get to. I have to wait my lunch or I get to eat my lunch in 2 minutes. I would love to know from you guys too. What do you think is the difference between have to and get to? Just like mentally, what is the difference between have to and get to? I have to do something versus I get to do something. I'm waiting for your responses in the chat, by the way. And this is actually like the major highlight of today's conversation is the have to versus get to. We just went on a couple of tangents.
No, we let things unfold for you so you can have a clear vision about it.
Okay, get to is a reward, attitude, freedom. Getting to is a blessing. I like that, Nicole. Internal choice versus external rules. I like that, Liz. Okay, I got positive. We got reward yourself by getting to. This is a huge shift. The have to mindset puts a lot of extra stress and pressure on you. I love it. Have to is negative talk. Get to is a blessing. Have to is a duty. Get to is an opportunity. Bingo. Is that Julie? Julie. Have to is a duty. It's like, ugh. It's like forced, right? I have to. It's like I'm being forced. Something's by force. And that's never pleasant. I get to. It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's freedom. It's pleasant. It's an opportunity. So you could take the same sentence exactly and just switch one word, and your attitude about it changes completely. Somebody said attitude. So, like, I have to work out, I get to work out. Imagine the shift that you will have in your life if you changed all your have tos to get tos. Try it. I would actually love to know what's something you feel like you have to do. And what I want you to do is put in the chat, I get to. Maybe it's like, have to take my kids to school. I get to take my kids to school. Thank God they get to have an education. I get to. It's like, wow, this is so wonderful.
Yeah. So the one feels like there's force applied upon us. The other one feels like there's no force at all. It's a choice, right? So think about this. What do you think you'll be able to break through faster? Something that has more resistance or less resistance? Like if you were to break down a wall, do you think it would be easier to take a sledgehammer and break down a wall that is thin? Or do you think it's going to be easier to break down a wall with a sledgehammer?
Like drywall versus concrete.
Yeah. Concrete, 3 layers of concrete.
Versus one thin layer of drywall.
Yeah.
And
your behavior is a byproduct of your habits, like it or not. You can know all the things in the book. However, by the end of the day, is life. Your life today is a byproduct of your habits, for better or for worse, right? And as you're building habits, as you're letting go of habits, right? Which that's what happens in any transformation journey on a thought level and on a physiological level. You face so much less resistance when you go from a place of choosing rather than feeling like you're forced to do something. Just like when you were a child, what would be the level of likelihood that you would actually want to wash your dishes if, let's say, your mom said, Linda, today you need to wash your dishes. Otherwise, mom is going to be really upset. Versus, Linda, may I ask that you please wash the dishes today? Because if you do that, we're going to get to go to Disneyland on Saturday. Whoa, what a shift. By the way, your mind is no different than that of a child. The only difference is that children have no filter. They're still their authentic self because they haven't been through enough life to create barriers. The older we get, the more barriers we face. So yes, maybe we do this thing. However, our on a deep level, our response is still the same way. Right? When we know that there is a reward on the other side, we're so much more likely to do something versus us, telling us that we got to do this thing.
Imagine if you use this with your children as well. Be mindful using it with adults. If they've not agreed to something and you tell them you get to do something that might not go over well. But if you tell your kid, like, hey Sam, you get to put your shoes on so we can, head to school. Versus like, hey, you have to put your shoes on, or you have to get your lunch, or you have to, like, if you start using that with other people too, like, their attitude is going to be different about it because you're shining the light on a positive perspective of the way to say that thing. And now let's relate this back again to like weight loss, body transformation, right? All of the things we think we have to do that are so strenuous, we don't like them. It's because we feel like we have to do them. Nobody's forcing you to do any of these things. Nobody's forcing you to eat a salad instead of pizza. Nobody's forcing you to go walk on the treadmill. If you're in America, you're blessed with choice. So you get to do it. Wow, how incredible is my body that it can squat, that it can pick shit up off the floor, that I can sit down and stand up and lift these bowls up to the cupboard while I'm doing the dishes. Like, how incredible of a creature am I that I get to move my body, that I get to feed myself respectfully with food that my body's going to appreciate. How incredible. Like, if you took that perspective, even if it feels a little cheesy at first, it feels way better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how cheesy it is, it feels way better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, for anybody who is listening, let's say you're like, okay, Erin and Sarit, my mind is going in 1,000 different directions, and I feel overwhelmed because I don't actually have a plan on how do I execute because there's so many things that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the pizza, I'm thinking about the workout. So if you know that you need help with a plan and you don't currently have a plan that you're working with or on, go ahead and drop a plan in the chat so that we can help you to put together a plan. Because if you don't have, like we say, fail to plan to fail. Simple as that. Like, you don't have a plan, you're like a leaf in the wind, right? Like the wind goes this way, you're going to go that way. Wind goes this way, you're going to go that way. Wind goes heavier, life gives us more adversity, you're going to be pushed back even more, right? So it is about having a plan that works for you while keeping those things in mind. Because, what if you haven't worked out in like a year or maybe 3 months, right? Like, yes, I get to work out today. However, like, then there comes the mechanics, right? Like, from a working out standpoint, like, what does it look like in a way that serves your body, right? Or, maybe you're like, yes, I get to eat my lunch and I'm going to be present. I'm going to have like salmon, carrots, and, string beans and sweet potatoes. Meanwhile, you've been struggling with emotional eating for 15 years. Like, there are so many elements that are involved in this. So all that to say, if you know that you don't have a plan and you'd like help putting together a plan, just go ahead and drop it in the chat. we'll be happy to do our part in case that you need any help.
Do you want to give them your email too, so they can reach out?
Yeah, that's totally fine. You can also feel free to email me, Sarit@erinsarit.com. If you drop the plan, actually, that will be better.
Like you could find a better.
Yeah, and we can connect. Okay, so as we're wrapping things up, because I know
right in the subject line, help me.
Yes, please help me, Sarit. Okay, so wrapping up everything that we talked about today. You want to change your body, or you want things to change. You need to change.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I just want to throw this disclaimer out there. If you're not open-minded to taking the coaching or like putting in the work, don't send an email.
Yeah.
We show up all the time on these videos. Like you can digest and absorb. If you're not ready to be coachable, it doesn't make you a bad person. Okay. What I'm saying is only email if you're like, I'm ready. I get to do something different. I get to change, and I'm ready to be open to the possibilities. Because if you're not, we really cannot help you. Okay. So that's the only disclaimer that I say there. You have to be ready, or there's nobody can help until you're at that point.
Yeah. Okay. So in order for the outcome to change, you're the captain of the ship. Ultimately, whether you know it or not, it's just a matter of, are you consciously choosing to be the captain of the ship, or are you letting the wind take your sailboat wherever it goes? Okay. You've got to make the conscious decision of, I am in charge, for better or for worse. Whatever body I have today, I created it. Sure, granted that society makes things harder for me because it got me out of touch, because the school system didn't teach me any better, because mom and dad didn't know. Listen, it's nobody's fault, right? However, what's in the past is in the past. Let go of it. All we've got is today, right? So we got to make a choice right now. And the choice is, what do I want? And who am I choosing to creating? Like, let's say you want to drop 50 pounds. Let me tell you something. You being 50 pounds less is not the same person that you are now. And I believe that that's probably one of the biggest, actually challenges to overcome, because we think that we are still going to think the same way. Things are going to be the same. No, you living in a different body means you are living as a different person in a different life.
The way you think is different. Your habits are different. Your routines are different. Maybe some of the people you hang out with is different. The places you go are different. If you think about it, like how a fit person lives, if you put yourself in a fit body and you say, how do they live versus how do I live? It's different. So you still be you, but you'll be a version of you that has different behaviors, thought processes. The way you talk to yourself is different. All this is different. So that's the real transformation. The weight loss should be a byproduct. The only way the weight will stay off is if it happens as a byproduct of the internal transformation that you do.
1000%. Okay. So, one small step to lead you in the right direction is, whatever it is that you're doing, go from a different state. Okay. A state of, this is my choice, rather than this is a force that I've got to break through. Okay. I get to work out. I get to wake up at 6 a.m. so I can move my body because I can. Amen. Hallelujah. Versus, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's 6 a.m. already. I'm so tired. I gotta work out. You're going to have a shitty workout. Of course you are. Right? Like, and then also how you do one thing is how you do everything. So this is like even beyond, it's like, oh, like what? I had a great workout or I had a shitty workout. You want to have a great life, have a great attitude. Anybody who lives a great life has a great attitude. It's not about, oh my gosh, they were so lucky. No, it is about how you respond to life. How do you respond to adversity? How do you respond to challenges? What is your outlook on life? Yes, I'm so excited. I get to drop 50 pounds because I'm sick and tired of being in a body that does not truly define who I am. So let's go.
It's the
Right?
level
It's
of
like
responsibility.
yes, it's a shift in how you operate, right? And I see way too many women and way too many people blame their body. Dude, it ain't your body's fault. It is the operating system that made the decision for the body to be in a compromised state. That is their fault. However, sometimes it may not be your fault if you didn't know. By the way, if you found value in today's information, in today's, content, if you are like, dude, my sister always complaining, she's tried all these, diets for 20 years, and every time I call her to see how she's doing, I hear her complaining. Do us a favor, please share it with her.
Don't do us a favor. Do her a favor.
No, do us a favor so that we can help her to get enlightened.
Do her a favor.
Yes, on behalf of us, do her a favor. So that she can get enlightened. Okay? Linda! It's time to start shifting things. Stop blaming your body. I see so many people blaming their body, blaming their spouse, blaming their this. No, you chose it all. You chose your spouse. You made your kid. You chose to live in that house, for better or for worse. Let's own where we're at, regardless of where we're at. And do the best that we can to use today as an opportunity to help us to get ahead.
Bingo.
The question is, how far do you want to go? It's all a choice. Okay.
That's it for today's conversation. You guys rock. Thanks for joining us. Like Sarit said, share this with your friends, family, loved ones. Let us be the bad guys. If they don't want to hear something, or if it stings them or doesn't make them feel good, it's because you need to hear it. Yes. And if somebody shared this video with you, comment their name in the comments and give them a huge shout out, because they did you a huge survey.
Yes, Army strong. Let's be the rising tide that raises all ships.
All right, crew.
Be great, everybody.